Welcome to The Third Degree Masonic Podcast, where we are always on the level. Today, listeners, welcome back. It has been a fun journey doing this with you, and we look forward to continuing that journey. As this month is a weird month, being a leap year, we wanted to put out a bonus episode for you. A little bit of a gift, a little bit more extra content. And we'll probably have these out while we're doing the leap year, just to give you something in between so we don't have any lulls in excitement. Today, I'm sitting here with our quality engineer, Brother Turco, and we're going to talk about some of the travels that we've been on recently and some of the adventures we've been having with the Royal Schofield Society and how much fun we've been having with that. Welcome to the show, Brother Turco. It's weird to have you on this side of the mic.
Yes, it is very weird. I mean, this is the second time that I've been behind the mic and stuff, and it just doesn't feel 100% right, just because I'm trying to do all the equipment and making sure that I'm not using my like just dragging out sentences, and while also trying to make eye contact with you and stuff and looking everywhere. So, but it's still good to be behind the microphone.
Nothing wrong with that. Brother Gabriel and I just have a little bit more practice. Usually you're the one telling us to stop saying so.
Yes, or corrects. Or
corrects, yeah, I still do that. Can't help it. But anyway, I'd like to just start this off. I had my first adventure this month. I went to Oak Harbor's inspection. And that was in Oak Harbor, Ohio. And fun fact, that is my father's hometown. And I have never been to that lodge. I am ashamed.
Now, did you just find that out when you were visiting, or
that was his hometown?
Yes.
Oh, no. I've known that. My grandparents lived there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure every guy in that lodge probably knows my grandfather. He was very active in the Lions Club and the Eagles, so, but never had any interest in Masonry. So, but
So you knew it going in, but you just never really traveled out that way.
Yeah, and when my grandmother usually tells me when a Mason from Oak Harbor passes away and tells me before we find out here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of their most recent guys was her neighbor. And I did not know that he was a Mason, but my grandmother did apparently. And then they were talking about him here in Lodge, and I went, oh, that's him. So, but went to the inspection, had a fantastic time. A lot of the usual suspects were there.
Yeah, you went with a few of the members of Genoa Lodge.
I did. I sat with Brother Taylor and Brother DeLong and Brother Allred and my brother from, I believe it's Sylvania Pyramid Lodge, Brother Adam Kidder, who's also a member of my motorcycle club. So that was a lot of fun. They did a great job. A lot of younger guys were in the chairs, but a lot of the older guys were too. And their worshipful master, Brother Rod Fowler, did a phenomenal job. He ran that room. I think they did it in the fellowcraft degree.
Okay.
We were in and out of that inspection in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So obviously we can't disclose anything about the degree and stuff, but for those listeners that don't 100% know, there's obviously the entered apprentice degree, the fellowcraft, and the master mason. They usually take about 2 hours?
Can be.
Yeah. There's one that takes
significantly longer.
Yeah, 3-4 hours. So when you get inspections and stuff of that degree, it's like, holy cow, we're gonna be here till midnight.
Yeah, I mean, it's always worth it because you're making a new guy into a Mason, and it's always exciting.
Yes.
But it is a long night. A lot of times we start those nights early.
Yep.
But no, we were in and out in an hour and a half. It was amazing. Their guys did great. I mean, you could tell they had their jitters.
Yeah.
Younger officers they stumbled on a couple of words, but who cares?
I mean, we had our jitters during our inspection.
Absolutely.
And we will have our jitters next year for inspection and the following year.
Yeah, every year, because you've got an audience this time.
It's just like in high school or college when you go to take a test. No matter how much you study, you still sit down and go, well, what about this? What about this? Did I forget to study about this? What if this is wrong? And you just have those.
Absolutely. And actually, it's was pretty cool. Brother Fowler, who, like I said, is the worshipful master of the lodge. So not only did he run the meeting and run the room, he also did the lecture that evening. And there was a lot of really cool things from that inspection that I think I'm going to try and implement here.
Okay.
Obviously, we can't talk about those.
Yeah, we can't go into depth.
They were just little details, little things that you wouldn't notice if you weren't looking for it, but it definitely made a big impact. Like stuff that's not normally a part of it, but it's like add-ons,
Yeah, yep.
Coming from a drama major as myself, having been in a lot of theater as a kid, those are the things you remember when you go through that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
But no, it was great. We were in and out in an hour and a half. They had cake afterwards. We hung around and kind of BS'd with everybody for a little bit. And then we were out the door. I was home by 10 o'clock. I mean, it poured down rain the whole way home, but,
Yeah. And weather's going to be weather. So, but no, that's what Masonry is really all about, like the degree and then the brotherhood afterwards and just hanging out and stuff. And the degree is always great, but it's always beforehand when you're eating, having a drink of pop or water or whatever, and just, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, catching up, talking to the candidate and whatnot. And then afterwards, congratulating the candidate for going through the degree and stuff, and just being like, yeah, we did great. Can't wait to see so-and-so on the next degree or the next inspection and stuff. And like you said, just hang out for a few hours. It's not just, okay, we got the degree done. Okay, let's go home. Bye. See you.
I mean, you had some people that did that, but there were guys that came from the 5th District, traveled all the way up here. I can't remember exactly where that is off the top of my head.
I want to say southeast Ohio.
That sounds right, but I'm not sure. So we apologize if we're wrong, but they traveled, and there was a bunch of them. And Monticello Lodge, if I remember correctly, they came in force that night. There was almost 15 of them there.
Holy cow.
Their whole officer line was there. They ended up winning the Traveling Gavel, which is an award that is given to lodges. It passes between inspections. The lodges that show up at these inspections with the most number of people get to take home this humongous, cartoonish looking gavel. It's humongous, but it's a big part of kind of the inspection, drawing people to go to these inspections and visit is taking home that gavel. So since that was the last inspection of the season, they will have that at their lodge for the rest of this year and will bring it back next inspection season. So
it's for them. Cool. Good for them. It's a nice reward or award to get for the end of the year and just for the lodges that go the extra mile and stuff.
Well, and Port Clinton, which is where Monticello is located, I believe. Hopefully
that sounds
right.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple of times, but Port Clinton is only 15 minutes away from Oak Harbor, so it's the equivalent of us going to Pemberville or even going to Oak Harbor. So it's kind of one of those times where you show up for your brothers in force, to show your support to them because you know that they're probably giving it to you. Pemberville comes to all of our inspections. We're doing a lot with Pemberville this year. And it's really cool to kind of be forging those bonds between two lodges,
Yeah.
And it helps that we have some members, Brother Taylor's a member there as well as here, so helps to kind of build that bond there. Our lodge is kind of weird now that I think about it. I mean, now that we're kind of just talking off of the top of our heads here, our lodge is a really weird blended lodge. I mean, we've got you and I come from Northern Light originally.
Yep.
So does Brother Staler.
Yep.
We came here. I mean, that's our only lodge, but, whatever.
Yep.
And then we've got the OGs, the original gangsters of Genoa Lodge, most worshipful Charlie Murphy, Right Worshipful Brother Allred.
Yep.
Worshipful Master Fawcett, Brother Gabriel. We got these OGs that have been here from the start, and then we've got guys that have just now kind of come in, like Brother Rodosi, who is our secretary.
Yep.
Who I believe you traveled to his inspection for his home lodge, did you not?
Yes. So Brother Rodosi is actually a past master of Genoa Lodge. So at one point, this was his home lodge and stuff. And Brother Rodosi really stepped up and really helped out our lodge this year by taking on the endeavor to be our secretary this year. which is a job in itself.
Yeah, it's no easy task.
No. And he's been really helping us young folk or generations kind of learn the lectures, kind of follow in the footsteps, kind of make sure our lodge is still working in 10 years from now. And the worship master, Gabriel Fawcett, and I went to his inspection this year, and so did Charlie, Mark Allred, and Christian. We all decide, hey, to pay him back, let's go to his home lodge in Gibson Lodge. I can't remember the town that was in, but it was about an hour, 2 hours away. 1:45. Sorry, brother Gabriel is here with us. He's just kind of sitting on the sidelines, kind of just mouthing words to us as we get stuff wrong. So, but we went there, and me and brother Gabriel were a little bit late. I think the inspection started at 6:30. We walked in the door at 6:32. But we were also coming from work over in Waterville, so we had to rush here, get our stuff, rush to Gibson Lodge, and beautiful building. It's in a old school hall. It's on the second story. You go up like a flight of stairs, sign in and everything. Beautiful lodge room, nothing like Genoa Lodge's room. But there's things that they did during their degree that kind of same thing. I was like, I'm gonna not steal, but not borrow. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to copy you almost.
I believe the word is tactically acquire.
Yes, tactically acquire. There's just things that the Genoa Lodge members that were sitting on the sidelines, they were doing their lecture or charge or whatever, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. Let's copy that. Yeah, the next degree we do of this, let's go ahead and do that. Ryan, can you get those equipment? Yeah, I can try and make something up and whatnot. So that was really cool. That was one of my travels. I have noticed traveling to other lodges, there seems to always be like one, I guess, topic or common thing at that lodge that I pick up, that I take back with me. Like me and you went to Bowling Green's Lodge. What was that?
Wood County
Lodge. That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I think it was only 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Time flies. And me and you went there, and we interviewed the worship master, Brother Crow, there right before the meeting started. And we had a phenomenal time during that meeting, before the meeting and even after the meeting, just talking to the brothers, and just, it was a great experience. I won't say the word that was said repeatedly throughout the night, but it was enough to get us all chuckling, cheerful, and just having a good time. Nothing profound, nothing like, oh, it's a curse word. It was an inside joke.
It was fun.
Yeah. So I could say it, but no one would understand. It's just like me saying tree. No one understands it.
Right. Well, and it's funny you bring that up because so for those of you that don't know, Wood County Lodge is located in Bowling Green, Ohio, home of the Bowling Green Falcons. It is a huge college town.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking huge fraternities. I think the campus takes up 30% of the town of Bowling Green.
Yep.
I mean, the whole one side of the town is essentially the campus.
Yeah, it's somewhat nicknamed around these parts of town as the party city.
It is.
There's bars, colleges, or the BGSU college. There's restaurants. There's pretty much anything you can think of there.
It's the nightlife.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't go downtown in Toledo in this area, you go to BG.
Yeah.
At least you used to.
So actually, real fast, because I just remembered it, because at my work, there's a few people that go to tractor pulls.
Yes.
And I found out during the last big tractor pull, BG is like the national championship.
Yes.
Like, it is the place to be. And I was just dumbfounded when I heard about that.
Yes, I've been there. I used to go to that with Brother Staler and Brother Neefer. And we used to go to the tractor pulls every year.
Yep.
And it's one of those places where you go and you get to bring your own booze in.
Yep.
They don't sell it.
Yep.
So they literally walked in with a 30 rack of Busch Light, and I'm the DD. So I got to drive Sam, big old pick-em-up truck.
Oh, geez.
He never let anybody drive it, but he wouldn't let me drive it because I was going to DD for him. And they bought me anything I wanted to drink as long as it wasn't alcohol there. So I was drinking root beer and lemonades and...
Jeez.
But, you know, by the time you get done there, and it's so loud, it's like being at a NASCAR race. It's cool.
It's highly recommended to bring earplugs, ear coverings, whatever you can to block the sound. Because I remember way back when, this was before I was a Mason, I went to the tractor pull in BG because my uncle is part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh.
And they had a booth there one year.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I was in high school, it was before high school because I had Heelys on.
Jeez.
And I remember going there and my mom was like, why are you bringing these? You're just going to destroy the wheels and stuff. I was like, no, it's fine. And I took the earplugs out and I don't think I've ever heard anything.
It's so loud.
It is.
It's so fun though.
Yeah, it's a great time. If you got a weekend to kill and you're up in this area when it's happening, I recommend going.
And they always, at least for Masonry, the shrine always seems to be out there. And
yes.
I think Wood County goes out there as well. They set up booths out there to, you know, kind of. So the reason why we're saying all this, listeners, is, sorry about that, I just hit the table with my foot.
I got really scared right there because I thought we had technical difficulties the first time recording this, and we were 6 minutes in, and then our devices just decide.
Just shut off.
Hey, we're done for the night.
Never had that happen before, so we're a little on edge. But
yep.
Anyway, but the reason why I bring that up is Bowling Green is a hustling and bustling town, and what's interesting is Wood County's lodge is located right in downtown Bowling Green.
Yes.
Right down the street from all the bars, all the fun. I actually stopped in and had a beer at a restaurant across from the lodge because I showed up probably about 45 minutes early. Nobody was there yet. And we got to talking with some of the waitresses that were there. And, you know, it hasn't changed. It's the same Bowling Green it's always been. But I say this because when we went, a big majority of their officer line were all young guys.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Our age or younger.
Yes, and on that night, they actually voted on a new candidate.
They did.
And the name was said, and one of the officers is like, oh, yeah, I got class with him. He's a BGSU such and such major.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was almost an uproar. Oh, yeah, I've seen him. And it's like, holy cow.
Right.
This is all intermingled.
Well, and then one of their newer members, that we can't mention by name because he's not officially a Master Mason yet.
Yep.
Is a professor there.
Yes.
And it's just interesting to see that all of these guys, you know, one of their candidates they were talking about, he's a student at BG, he's a member of a different fraternity.
Yep.
And, you know, he wants to be in Masonry because he's getting ready to graduate, and he wants that fraternity without it being the party side of the fraternity. He wants that brotherhood to continue going on. And based on the way they were talking, this happens all the time. So they'll get a guy in while he's in his last year, senior, junior year, teach him about the fraternity, and then he'll go and do whatever he's going to do for the rest of his life. But he'll continue that as a Mason.
Yep.
He can either continue being a member at Bowling Green if he stays around here, or maybe he'll transfer to his own Masonic Lodge, you know, wherever he's going. But, you know, and they just do that. You know, I think a lot of lodges are worried about retaining guys, you know, keeping these guys. Oh, well, where's he from? Oh, well, that's kind of far. Is he going to make it? These guys aren't worried about that.
Yep.
They're just like happy that guys want to be made Masons, and they know they might not stick around forever. So that's a pretty cool, you know, it's got to change your train of thought. You know what I mean? Like, hey, these guys might not be here for long. Let's give them the best experience that we can.
Yep.
And I just thought that was really cool. Those guys were fun. I ended up getting drafted to do an officer position that night because they were running a little lean. A couple of their guys, I think I was talking to them. One of their guys is in the Air Force, and had something he had to do for drill or something like that, so he couldn't be there.
Well, they also were supposed to have a candidate that night to get his first degree, but then the candidate had to go home for personal reasons that we're not going to share. But yeah, I remember we walked in, started talking to him, and the wharf master, Brother Crow, right after the interview was like, "Hey, I need a senior steward. Do either of you guys mind stepping in?" And I did the whole nose goes. And I go, "Well, Sam, it looks like you're sitting there, and I'm sitting in the balcony."
It was fun, though. We had a blast going out to Wood County, and if you guys are listening, thank you so much for having us. We had so much fun. I cannot stress that enough.
Yep.
And we'd like to thank you guys for some of the advice you gave us and for putting and sharing our content in your group page.
Mm-hmm.
And we really appreciate that. I have recently shared, they have an open house coming up here pretty soon that you can...
Yes. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
I shared it on our Facebook page. So if anybody's listening, they can take a look on there and if they want to go see it. But the other thing I want to talk about is, so we're currently sitting in Genoa Lodge, our home lodge. You know, we have a very small lodge. It's not the smallest I've ever seen. I've seen much smaller.
Yes.
But it's a rectangular room. It's got the chairs on the side, and we can probably fit comfortably. What would you say?
I think me and Brother Bergman counted. I think it's like 94 without adding more chairs in here.
And then you have your officers.
Yep.
So maybe about 100 people or so. I mean, it's going to be a tight fit, right?
Yep.
Their lodge room was beautiful.
Yeah.
Humongous. It's got balcony.
Yeah.
It's got stage seating almost, but not, like bleachers.
It almost
elevated.
reminded me of like, this is going to be kind of weird, but like almost going to like Washington, D.C. and going into like
Congress?
Congress because everything was white. They had pillars everywhere. They had, like you said, balconies, stairs, beautiful stairs going up and just multiple rows. And it was just eye-opening.
Right. And it's sitting... All of this beautiful room is just sitting in downtown Bowling Green, one of the biggest college towns in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, and it doesn't have this giant sign saying, "Hey, Masonic Temple right in here." It just has a standard Masonic Temple and other apparent bodies enter here. And I actually found out when I walked in the front door, because I thought the area looked a little familiar, but I used to go right across the street every Saturday to the coffee house, Flat Hands Coffee, not even realizing there's a Masonic building within 30 feet of me. And I remember making the comment, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is a hidden gem. This is a hole-in-the-wall Masonic Lodge.
I love it. And we say that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I mean, so like Genoa's Lodge, if you come into Genoa, you go right down Main Street, and there's pretty much one stoplight in town.
Yeah.
And that's the center of town. You got Town Hall, and then on the side is a restaurant that just about everybody in town goes to called Ray's.
Yep.
And right across the street from Ray's is our lodge. And I mean, it's humongous. Genoa Masonic Lodge on the side of the building, big old square and compass. We did a big job renovating it a few years back.
Yes.
And, we have the situations that we're in now. I mean, I think a lot of people know that we're here. And hopefully we're kind of getting some people back now that COVID is over and we're kind of dragging people out back into society. But it was just very cool to see kind of the opposite. You got this Masonic Lodge that's just there.
Yes.
But they have these active young officers. They've got constant guys coming in. Somebody might leave because they're done with school and they're going somewhere, but they quickly are able to get some new guys in and keep the blood fresh.
Yep.
And they do all that without screaming that their presence is there.
Yes.
And I might have opinions on that. They're none of my business. It's their lodge.
They kind of take the hidden in plain sight. Like their building is very hidden in plain sight. If you look for it, you will find it. But if you're just scanning and just randomly walking through, you ain't gonna see it.
And it's interesting you say that because, their building might be hidden in plain sight, but you can tell that the Brothers of Wood County Lodge are not hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, no, their impact or their member count or where they are, definitely not hidden.
Actively, I mean, they're actively involved in their community. Yeah. They're actively doing, doing these events in the area that garner them increased membership. And, it makes me kind of wonder, how could we learn from that?
Yes.
How could we incorporate some of that into our curriculum for how we plan to do these membership improvements? And obviously, we're not allowed to ask someone to become a Mason, but
Yes.
if you don't, the old adage is to be one, ask one. But if you're not out in the community and you're not putting yourself out there in a position for someone to ask, no one's going to ask you.
Yep.
And obviously, these guys have taken that to heart, and they are out there.
Yes.
And there's plenty of people to ask them.
Yep.
So hopefully going forward, we can take that to heart, and we can incorporate some of that, and we can get out more into the community and put our faces out there. I think it's a really cool idea. And I think that's kind of the whole point of doing these travels, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, my first travel was to the Wood County one with you. My second travel was to Pemberville's lodge, which obviously I had Brother Taylor there. But it was a different experience because Master Taylor, or Brother Taylor, I never took Taekwondo, but everyone calls him Master Taylor because they did. So it feels very weird for me to say Brother Taylor when it's like, well, it's Master Taylor.
It's always Master Taylor.
Yeah. But I get along with him. Not saying I don't, but I don't know him as much as I know you, as Gabe, or my fiance, or Brother Cashin. So I was kind of like, hey, Brother Taylor. And then we kind of like sat at different tables eating dinner and stuff. And I was just like, this feels wrong.
Right.
Weird. Like, I'm at the wrong lodge. I'm supposed to be at my home and stuff. But the brothers there said, no, come on over. And started talking to me. And it was just like, hey, long lost friend that I haven't seen in forever. And I didn't feel awkward the rest of the night. I felt at home, and I actually, like I told you and Brother Gabriel before we started recording, I actually got recognized going into the lodge room. Brother came up to me, and it was the junior deacon, and he looked at me and goes, "You're part of the Third Degree Masonic podcast, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Yeah, you're the sound guy, Brother Turco." And I was kind of starstruck. Like, I was kind of like, wow, we do have listeners. Wow. This isn't just us screwing around in the lodge room for 2 hours on a time. And kind of same thing. They didn't have a candidate that night. They didn't have a degree, but they just had a regular stated meeting. But it was still just beautiful. It was awesome. They did their typical lodge meeting and stuff, and then had a little bit of refreshments and whatnot afterwards. And it was just, that night I took back brotherhood of, I am alone, but I'm not. I am among my brothers. I am perfectly comfortable here. And I can see myself going back there on their state meetings and just, hey, just want to come by, say
hi.
Yeah, see what you guys are doing, seeing if I can help out and stuff. So, but yeah, it was just beautiful. So that was my second one. You talked about your very first one at Oak Harbor. Was BG your second one?
So my first one, interesting enough, was actually Pemberville as well. I went to their installation of officers. And for those of you that don't know, every November or so, the lodge elects new officers to run the building. I mean, it's your typical, your president, your vice president, your junior vice president, whatever. We just call them different things.
Yep.
And everybody has a job, and, we all work together to make sure that this shenanigans functions, And the installation is when they're officially sworn into office. They, it's a public event. Anyone can come to it. And they sit there and they get installed, and they're told what their duties are and what have you. And I noticed with Pemberville, and I'm sure it's probably similar to us because we're in very similar situations. Mm-hmm. A lot of those guys have done that before.
Yes.
And a lot of those guys have been through the chairs. A lot of their officers are past masters.
Yep.
And it's just
I
because.
think currently their worshipful master is a new worshipful master. Their senior warden is a past master, and junior warden, kind of like us, is a past master.
Right.
But then, like I said, the junior deacon, the one that knows me and stuff, he's got to be my age, because I remember talking, and he's like, "Hey, what year did you graduate high school?" And I said 2014, and he goes, "Oh, same year. I graduated high school from so-and-so high school." And I was like, "Holy cow, we got to be the same age."
Yeah, absolutely, or at least close enough.
Yep.
But you could tell that, kind of like us, there's a lot of wisdom that have been through those chairs before. And, a lot of times when you get these younger guys that are coming in and they're hitting those chairs for the first time, you can tell they're nervous.
Yeah.
They're taking on an undertaking. And these guys were laughing and joking, and not in a disrespectful manner, but they were comfortable.
Yeah, kind of like Wood County's lodge.
Yes.
Like, they weren't cracking jokes, making someone feel bad. They were just kind of like, I mean, we're here to get business done and to do stuff, but
gotta have fun.
Yeah, it's our personal time. It's after hours. It's after we just got off 8, 9, 12 hours, whatever it was. But let's have a joke here and there.
Yeah, and it was a great time. I went to that with Brother Allred and Brother DeLong again, and it was just a good time.
Yeah.
We just had fun.
Yeah.
And it didn't take very long. It was very cool to do, very cool to pay back, because that was right after we did Brother Brimmer's Master Mason degree with them. So we were kind of repaying the favor.
Yep.
But it's really cool. We're sitting down, we're talking about these travels that were going on, and while we may have our own Masonic podcast, I do like to listen to some of the other Masonic podcasts to kind of see, make sure we're
kind of in the same ballpark, kind of not going way off left field.
Also to make sure we don't copy anybody.
Yeah.
I would never want to be on the coattails of anybody.
Like, obviously there's going to be some overlap, but not making it 100%. Oh, this person just released this episode. We gotta do an episode just like this.
Right. We would never do that.
Yep.
But it is also interesting because some of these guys are very knowledgeable. They talk about some stuff that I would have never thought of, because they're thinking on a level or a different, maybe a different level of Masonry. I think you and I are very strongly in the brotherhood and maybe I would say practical aspects of things. Some of these guys are really into esotericism. Some of these guys are kind of in between. I would say we're kind of in between.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten into the esoterics yet, but, we might one day. If we get a guest that really is into that, I would be interested in listening to that. But one of the ones that I've really been listening to lately, just while I'm cutting the grass or what have you, is Time for Fellowship with Matt and Andrew. And these are some brethren. I believe they're out of Wisconsin. Hopefully I'm correct, but I'm pretty sure I am. They've got some great content. But one of the things that they like to talk about, and it comes up very, very, very often in their show, is the culture of a lodge. You can have a ritual. Your ritual might not go great. You might have some errors. You might have some problems here. But if you have a good culture, good bones of your lodge, you can really do anything. You can fix the ritual work. You can fix the organization. You can fix all the mistakes.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a group of guys who genuinely are in this to win this, or they're into it for the culture, and
not just to make a title or to go.
Right.
Yes.
You can't make anything happen. And it's kind of cool doing these travels. It kind of reaffirms some of the stuff that they talk about with the culture of, they talk about how the culture of their lodge is really good. They all know each other outside of lodge. They do things outside of lodge. They everybody knows their spot. There's no problems with it. I mean, I'm sure there are. Every lodge has problems.
Yeah.
They're all fixable.
I mean,
because they have a good
place
culture.
You go to, whether it be Masonic or not, they have their problems. It's just the way of the world.
Correct.
Nothing's perfect.
But it's cool because, they talk about this lodge culture, and if a lodge has culture, you can build off of that. And it's cool going to these other lodges in our district, and it kind of reaffirms that of culture, being at Wood County, being this young group of guys that have a good time. They can laugh, they can joke during meetings, but they got everything done that needed to be done. And if they had to be there until 10 o'clock at night with a candidate, they would have.
Yeah.
Same thing for Pemberville. You got these guys that have maybe not the youngest lodge, but you got guys that they have a good time. They know each other. They are brothers, and they are enjoying their time doing what they're doing.
Even when a foreign brother comes and visits their lodge, like I did, or like you and Brother Alfred did, they're not going to go, oh, well, I don't know him.
Right.
So
They welcome
I'm
you
just going to sit in this clique of mine. No, they're, oh, hey, let's go talk to him. Let's see what brings him out this way and see how he's doing and stuff.
So I just think that's really cool. And I think that's the big thing we're supposed to be learning from these traveling.
Yes.
I think it will be interesting when you and I start doing the foreign travels and we go outside of our district.
Yes.
The things we're going to see and learn there and seeing what the culture is. I mean, yeah, we traveled. We traveled in our district. We traveled probably about maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes from home for each of these visits.
Yeah. I mean, my third visit was in Waterville, so I just stayed late one day and figured, hey, I got another hour. I'll just keep working. And then on my way home, I just made a turn and went to their lodge for, again, still beautiful lodge. They're in the Browning Masonic complex. Beautiful lodge, beautiful meeting, great brothers. I remember I walked in there, and that lodge, I knew no one else there.
Right.
Brother Taylor wasn't there. You weren't there. Brother Staler. No, I was by myself. No. And I remember texting you as soon as I sat down. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get used to this or not. And I can't tell you how many brothers came up to me and it was like, hi, my name's Boa. Who are you? And I would say, Brother Turco from Genoa Lodge, number 433. Oh, yeah, you're the home lodge of Charlie Murphy. Yep.
Yes, we are.
How's Charlie doing? He's doing good. Well, hey, we're super happy to have you. We'll have refreshments after lodge. We'd love to sit and chat with you. And cool.
Perfect.
And yeah, they had a beautiful meeting. They actually had their what was it? York Rite not present. Like they didn't give a York Rite degree, but just information of, hey, this is the New York Rite form of Masonry, and we just want to share what we are and why we're just this organization.
Why you should join.
Yes.
Why you should think about it.
Yep.
And it's funny, we had some visitors at our last meeting from the Scottish Rite.
Yeah.
And listeners, I would like to let you know, for those of you listening to this bonus episode, you're going to get a little bit of a heads up. We have some interesting episodes coming forward.
Yes.
Probably not in this next month, but the following month. Working on getting some interviews with some Scottish Rite and a couple of the other appellate bodies that you may have heard of but don't know very much about.
Yep.
But I would like to thank you all for listening and just having this chat with us. Hopefully it was productive for you. You can look forward to seeing our next episode the following week. Like I said, it's going to be weird. You're going to get 2 episode drops. But being a leap year, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. And we hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did, we encourage you to kind of comment, post, or just share and just say, hey, this was a great, I don't want to say filler episode because it kind of sounds like a waste.
It was a bonus.
But yeah, a bonus
Extra.
episode. And we'd love to keep doing these.
Sounds great. Well, craftsmen, just remember, always keep your working tools in order and always be on the level. Thanks for listening with us.
Thanks.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of the Grand Lodge of Ohio, its officers, or any of its jurisdictions, and only reflect those of the hosts or guests.